Many of you are afraid. That's right, you're afraid. You're afraid of going and talking to that young lady that you've been gawking at from the distance for the longest. You're afraid to go talk to that young man or allow that man to approach you. When he does approach you, you automatically reject him because you built this barrier up for so long that you think that he possibly couldn't want me for any good reason. You are afraid. That is why many of you are struggling with porn and masturbation addiction because it's a lot easier to get the lotion, get in a dark room, and masturbate. For you young ladies to get the toys and go in the room and masturbate than to authentically connect with another human being. And that's not to judge you, it's just to say that uh, a lot of people are just afraid because they don't want to put out any more emotional capital. They don't want to go out there and put themselves out there on the market to potentially be hurt, to potentially be rejected, to potentially be disappointed. And now I say this because I want you all to really ask yourself the question: am I afraid? Is my porn watching, is my masturbation directly attributed to my fear? And I am coming to tell you that fear is such a destructive thing. Fear is a thing that has caused many a man and woman to not get the best that the good Lord has intended for them in their life. Fear. Fear, the Bible says, fear involves torment. That's why he did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. In other words, God gave us a spirit of love, of power, meaning that we got the we got the gumption to go out there to make it happen, and a sound mind. In other words, we have a mind that's constructed to be able to be sober minded, to be able to think clearly. You're not you're not dumb. You're not an accident. You have creative genius on the inside of you because God made you in his image and in his likeness. You, my friends, just have to believe that. And not only do you have to believe it, you have to stand on those principles. So ask yourself again, are you, and I'll say it in the first place, in the first person being you for a second, am I watching porn because I'm afraid? And if I'm afraid, what am I afraid of? This is a question I want you to look yourself in the mirror and I want you to ask yourself this question again. Am I afraid? Am I watching porn or masturbate because I'm afraid? And if I'm afraid, what am I afraid of? See, for people that just really more so struggle with the masturbation component of it, it becomes a thing of saying, hey, look, I'd rather go out here and masturbate to get this lust off of me than to genuinely go out there and form a relationship with this woman because, hey, look, what if she rejects me? For others of you all, you've gone out there to try to have relationships and the girl rejected you. So the way that you deal with the rejection is saying, well, hey, look, she rejected me in real life, but you know what? I can think her up in my mind. I can think her up in my imagination, and I can at least think to myself that I was with this girl that I always wanted to be with, and I can ejaculate to her. Not to try to be crass, but I'm just want to call it what it is. I can think about her and I can ejaculate. I can masturbate to her because that's the closest that I'll ever get to her because she already turned down or she spurned my advances. And what I am telling you guys that is equally unhealthy. It's unhealthy because the energy that you're using masturbating, thinking about this girl that you'll never ever be with in that way, is energy that you could be using to form a healthy relationship with someone that digs you, with someone that really likes you, with someone who really wants to be with you. And also, it's destructive because you run the risk of training yourself to objectify women. And so when you get to a point where you become accustomed to objectify women, guess what? It's harder for you to settle down and to find a mate, so to speak, because you know, your mate has to meet all these different check marks, and most of those check marks would have been jaded, if you will, by your perversion, would have been jaded by your triced into pornography, by your triced into your continuous triced into masturbation. So now, if the girl doesn't look like the girl in the video, well, I don't want her. If the girl doesn't give you the feeling that you want, that you got from masturbation, well, I don't want her. For the ladies, if the man doesn't give you the same feeling that you got from reading the romance novels or from looking at the books or the conversations, the salacious conversations that you're engaged in, well, I don't want him. He's too nice. He's too this, whatever your thing is, right? And so then it becomes a destructive thing. So again, identify whether you have fear in your life. Ask yourself, do you masturbate because you are fearful? Do you watch pornography because you are afraid? And then the other question, the second part of that question is, what am I afraid of? What are you afraid of? What could possibly go wrong? I mean, if you go out there and you talk to that young lady and you say, "Hey, look, my name is so and so. My name is Joe, and you know what? I've been seeing you, and I want to know if I want to get to know you better." And this worst case scenario, she says to you, "Well, buzz off," or she cusses you out, or she gives you a nasty look or something, which many of you are afraid of. Well, what did you really lose if she acted like that? Because for a person to act like a butthole to another human being who is only trying to introduce themselves to them, and for them to be nasty with you like that, that's not the type of woman that you want in your life anyway. That's the type of person that has issues going on. You don't need that type of energy in your life anyway. You know, I've been turned down by women many times, right? I've been cursed out, and then you feel this ego rising up, like I gotta just tell her something because maybe you feel like you gotta prove yourself. Maybe if I show her I'm not like the other, and you ain't gotta do none of that. If she's cussing you out, looking at you funny, or doing all that, leave her alone because either she's not in the right mental space at that moment or she's just an overall miserable, nasty human being. And then you have to ask yourself, why do you want that energy in the first place in your life? And the other question you may have to ask, if you want that type of energy in your life, why? And 9 times out of 10, men who get with those type of individuals want it because of lust. So they're they've been dissed, they've been acting, this woman acted a fool towards them because they approached them, but you still want her because you're like, man, I really want to sleep with this girl. I really, man, I'll just deal with this disrespect because I want to get between her legs. That's lust, folks. That's lust. So now you got to go back and check yourself and check your motives for why you do things. Because any man with a healthy self-esteem is not going to sit there and deal with that. They just be like, okay, whatever, mom. I'm not. I don't have time to play games. I don't have time. Hey, look, I'm sorry that you've been hurt. If things happen later on and we meet again and it just so happened, then cool. But up until then, I'm not trying to fight to prove myself to you. I'm not trying to show you I'm a good guy. I'm not trying to heal your heart. No, that's a guy's job to do all that. So I said that to give you the worst case scenario if that happens. And even if that happens, that is a good thing. Hear what I said. That's a good thing. So I gave you the worst case scenario that can happen. You get you get cussed out and get a nasty look. So what? That doesn't mean that you go back and you masturbate. That doesn't mean that you go back and you watch a porn because, oh my God, I saw an old girl today and I just made up this story in my mind that me and this girl with these big breasts, we were going to be together. And I'm talking like this because this is how the enemy puts it in your mind. So I put this in my mind that me and this girl with these big old 36 double D's was going to be together today. And so in my mind, because I'm meditating on what the devil has told me, I'm already seeing myself enjoying her breast. I'm already seeing myself enjoying the fruits of her body. And because I've already created this emotional capital in the form of a fantasy, once I approach this woman and she says no to me, I take it extra hard because I created. She didn't tell me to do it. I created this emotional capital in my head, and I can already see myself enjoying her breast. I can already see myself enjoying her body. And so when she says no, I'm like, oh, dang it, right? And then you have all this energy, and so you say to yourself, well, you know what? I need to go home and masturbate. I need to go home and watch me a porn because I can get on the porn and I can get a woman that sort of reminds me of that woman that just rejected me. See, y'all don't want to talk real right now. I'm talking real. I can go out there and get a woman that reminds me of the woman that just rejected me in the porn, and I can get a release. And in the middle of me getting that release, I'm thinking about the girl that just rejected me. So, for example, I want to be with Holly Berry. For example, let's put that out there. I want to be with Holly Berry. I finally to get the nerves to approach Holly Berry, but guess what? Holly Berry rejects me for whatever reason. I'm not her type, whatever the case may be. So now I go home and I find a porn with a woman that has the similar body type or similar look as Holly Berry. And now in the midst of me masturbating to that woman I see on that porn, I'm thinking about the girl that rejected me. Therein lies another reason why many of you are bound to pornography. But as I've said in my training, it's a porn avatar. Well, I'm not going to get into porn avatar, but it's because of your fear, because you've dwelt in your fear, because of that rejection, because the girl turned you down. You don't believe in yourself enough to have a normal, healthy relationship that you can look at girls normally and healthy. You feel like you got to go masturbate to all these women. And so now you've been rejected so much, you don't know how to talk to women, you don't have confidence, you've done it, it's happened to you so many times. So now you convince yourself, I might as well give up. I might as well give up looking for a woman. For like you ladies, I might as well give up on a relationship. So I'm just gonna go home and masturbate. Because it's easier. I don't have to worry about diseases. I don't have to worry about getting turned down. It's the least it offers you the least chance of being hurt or being rejected. That's why a lot of you guys, and I want you to ask that question again for the final time. Why do you masturbate? Or are you afraid? What are you afraid of? What reason do you have to be afraid? Why are you afraid? And if you can start there and answer that question, it will tell you everything you need to know on what you need to do to finally overcome. Start there, folks. Ask that question to yourself, those questions to yourself, and then answer those questions honestly. Answer them honestly. Whew, wow. For more tips and strategies on what you can do to overcome porn addiction, and to even if you just want to get in contact with me one on one, if you want some individual coaching, go to www.pornaddictshelp.com, www.pornaddictshelp.com. And don't forget to please like, share, and subscribe to this video. Thank you so much. To this page. Thank you very much.